All right, so thank you for tuning in to Chomping at the Bit. I'm Kyle Edwards, of course. Now, we already know that we are now on to the final day of Super Wildcard Weekend. We have the one game tonight, Cardinals, Rams. But before we look into that game, got to do a quick little review of what happened on during the triple-header Sunday. And of course, if you want to hear about the games from Saturday, go back to previous episodes, check that out. But this one, it's a review, the Sunday tripleheader, talk about the Monday night game, and then that'll be it for Wildcard Weekend. So far, it's been a pretty good slate of games, I will say. So, with that, let's look back at the tripleheader that happened yesterday. So, in the first game, it was the Bucks versus the Eagles in the 2-7 matchup. We knew that the Eagles came into this game as a, hefty underdog. It was Bucks were favored by a touchdown. And in order for the Eagles to have a chance, Jalen Hurts was going to have a pretty good day throwing the ball. And they didn't get that, so the Bucks won 31-15. And the Bucks just looked like the Bucks. They took care of business. Of course, next week for divisional weekend, they'll go up against a tougher opponent, so we'll probably learn a little bit more about them then. But for now, like I said, the offense looked good. I know that they dealt with some injuries before the game because, like, Fournette and a couple other guys were ruled out just before kickoff. So maybe that's something that plays into, becomes more of a factor come next week. And then saw a couple of offensive linemen get banged up, Wirfs and Jensen, I believe. I remember Jensen back in the game. I don't think Wirfs ever got back into it. So, maybe that's something that shows up against, let me see, possible opponents are the Rams, so against like an Aaron Donald, or if they go against the Niners. Can they go against the Niners? No. Or if they go against the Cardinals, then you're looking at J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. So we'll see if that becomes an issue. Yeah, so they got their win. They're moving on, and they're waiting to see what happens with the Monday night game. Because, like I said, if the winner of that game is going to go to Tampa Bay anyway. Because based off the second game, we already know Green Bay's opponent. So let's go ahead and look at the second game right now, which was the Niners and the Cowboys. This one was my upset pick of the day. And this game did not disappoint because I also said it was probably going to be the most exciting game of the day. And I will say that it was. Now, early on, 49ers looked like they're in control. But then a couple of costly turnovers gave the Cowboys some momentum. Got the game to within a touchdown. But I'm sure you've all seen it by now. The questionable call with the quarterback draw, where Prescott got down to, I believe it was just outside the 20 before that they had thrown 3 consecutive passes toward the sideline, got out of bounds, actually covered a good amount of ground within like 15, 20 seconds. But then, for some reason, they went with the quarterback draw. Prescott went down probably a little later than he should have, and they tried to spot the ball and then snap it again, which, of course, you would know can't do because the official has to spot the ball. Because naturally, if you just leave the team to do it, they could spot it wherever they wanted. So everybody lined up. The ref couldn't get through. By the time he spotted the ball, time ran out. Cowboys fans were throwing stuff. They were visibly upset, crying in the stands and all that. But ultimately, I mean, that had nothing to do with the Cowboys losing that game. They lost because of stupid penalties, which they had a bunch of them. A few by like Randy Gregory, like holding on from the defensive line, trying to stop an offensive lineman getting to the second level, like stupid stuff like that. And as I said before the game, with Trayvon Diggs, you throw at him, run double routes. The Niners did that a couple of times, and Trayvon Diggs did like I thought, jumped the first part of the route and got burned on for big gains. Garoppolo played well. Samuel, Ayuk made big plays when needed. Kittle was a little bit quiet, but the Niners ultimately did enough to win 23-17, and now we'll travel to Green Bay for divisional round next week. And that'll be interesting, but of course we wait till later in the week to look at the divisional round. But now, one last thing. So now with the Cowboys, there's a lot of questions about Mike McCarthy. Should he lose his job? All that kind of stuff. And stuff about Dak Prescott, whether he's made for the big time. Because we know he had a good regular season, but he didn't have the greatest game yesterday. So you're starting to hear questions now about this Cowboys roster, which a lot of people thought was really talented and talented enough to make a run at the Super Bowl. But once again, they're 1-out. I saw a stat after the game that I believe it's been like 21 years since the Cowboys made the NFC Championship game. We're not even talking about a Super Bowl appearance, but just a championship game. Now, for a team that wants to promote itself as America's team, that's kind of a long drought. So definitely changes are going to have to happen in Dallas. We'll see over the offseason with the draft what happens there. But for now, their season's over. The Niners, like I said, predicted that they would get the upset, so I was happy to see it. And glad to see them move on to, go up against Aaron Rodgers now next week. Now on to the final game of Sunday's tripleheader. We had the Chiefs, Steelers. This one, Steelers went in as the biggest underdog on the weekend. The line was 13 by the time kickoff, so almost 2 touchdowns. And it was obvious why. The Steelers' offense isn't as high-powered as the Chiefs' offense can be. So we already knew it was going to be a struggle there if it turned into a shootout. I did say that their best chance is going to be for TJ Watt to become a menace to Patrick Mahomes. And I'll be honest with you, TJ Watt had a great game. The Steelers' first score actually came on defense because of that pressure up front that I said that they needed to do. And they forced a fumble, got the scoop, and score for the, recover, and then return for the touchdown. But ultimately, the offense only gave them 14 points because they finished with 21. And when the Chiefs' offense got going, which it was a struggle at first, we saw the Chiefs, offense that we had seen earlier in the year that struggled a lot. But it seemed like once that turnover happened and the Steelers went on the board, I think it was Collinsworth or something, was wondering if it was going to be a special night for the Steelers, but the Chiefs turned it on, and they coasted to a 42-21 win. So the Steelers season's over. For Big Ben, let me just check his numbers real quick. In what should be his final game, he was 29 for 44. Okay. 215. Sure. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's good. But QBR of 15. That's not going to cut it. the running attack that I said would have to play a major part if the Steelers wanted a chance at this game was non-existent. They averaged, a little over 2 yards. Well, a little less than 3 yards a carry, sorry. And basically the measuring stick for any running back or running group is 4 yards a carry. So they had 20 carries, 56 yards. That wasn't going to get it done. And then you look on the other side, Mahomes, 30 for 39 for 404, 5 touchdowns and a pick. And the pick was just like every other one we've seen, off a deflection. He did take 3 sacks, which I don't know if TJ Watt got all. No, TJ Watt had 1 sack. Highsmith got 1. But TJ Watt was in the backfield a lot during the game. So like I said, he did his part. It's just that the offense could not keep up. So, as I previously said, all things point towards this being Roethlisberger's last game. Obviously, you never know, but yeah, I think at this point he retires, waits for his time to get into the Hall of Fame, because obviously that's coming next. And then he can look towards whatever's next. I don't know if he wants to get into coaching or whatever, but it was a rough couple of years for Big Ben, obviously. The year where they went 11-0 and then lost, I think it was the last 5, and then the opening round of the playoffs. I think that was the last sign that it was kind of it for Big Ben, but he kept going, and then this past year, it just looked like the wheels really fell off the track at that point. So, like I said, doesn't diminish his whole career. He was definitely much better, I would say, first half of his career than the last half. He had some good years in the last half of his career, but nothing like the first half of his career where he was. Didn't he have the rookie record for young quarterback winning on the road in the playoffs or something like that? He had some crazy record like that or something. So yeah. As a Patriots fan, there were some definite playoff battles there between he and Brady. There was a couple of games in there that were actually pretty legendary. So now the Steelers got to wonder, what do they do with their quarterback position? Once again, we'll wait on that because we'll see offseason around the draft what's going to happen there. But that's what happened yesterday for the triple header. So now at least we know the AFC, it's going to be Buffalo going to Kansas City, and then Cincinnati going to Tennessee. So we have our divisional round matchups in the AFC set. Like I said, the NFC will be set tonight, but we do know San Francisco is going to Green Bay, and then the Bucks will get the winner of Rams Cardinals. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the final game of Super Wildcard Weekend, the Cardinals and the Rams. Now, this is another one that I think should be a really good game. It's a divisional matchup again, so those games can usually go one of two ways. We saw what the Bills and the Patriots, the Bills blitzed them. That was a little different, The Patriots going in with a rookie quarterback, all that. Rookie quarterbacks don't really do well, or their teams don't do well in the playoffs. So I guess history wasn't on the Patriots side there. Now this one with the Cardinals and Rams, we get Stafford versus Kyler Murray, two established quarterbacks. Two teams that I think want to air it out. Although with no DeAndre Hopkins for the Cardinals, that means that's going to put pressure on Zach Ertz to step up from the tight end position. Christian Kirk on the outside. I feel like there's another wide receiver that I'm missing there. Is it AJ Green? Yes, I'm going to go with AJ Green. But Kirk was their leader in receiving yards, so that's going to be, I guess, probably the first place for the Rams to look. And with the Rams, we know Stafford likes to air it out. Cooper Kupp, their star wide receiver, who just seems to always get open. And I guess looking at the matchups here, well, the Rams have the ball on offense. The key is going to be Matt Stafford. We've seen him in the playoffs, I believe, once before. I don't think he has a playoff win to his resume, but that was with the Lions, and I don't think he played all that well. But now this is a different animal. The Rams are expecting big things this year, so there's going to be pressure on him to, perform. There's going to be there's going to be a need, of course, for Sony Michel in the backfield to have some success on the ground. But ultimately, it's going to be with Stafford. Can he curb the interception issue that he did have at times during the year? Or at times he would struggle in the first half and then turn it on in the second half. That's something you can get away with in regular season against certain opponents. Not something you really want to do in the playoffs because you're going up against good teams in the playoffs mostly. And a lot of those teams will take advantage of that. So we'll have to see if Stafford is, jittery, air mailing some passes or a little off with his accuracy, or does he come out, do what people know he can do, find Cooper Kupp, you got Odell Beckham, and just throw it down the field, get quick scores, because we've seen them do that as well during the regular season, and put some real pressure on the Cardinals. Defensively for the Cardinals, it's got to be containing Cooper Kupp. I know that's probably the easiest thing to say because, Cooper Kupp had 135 catches, so most teams know that he is that kind of threat, yet he was still able to find success most weeks. So the Cardinals are going to have to try to do something. Now the issue is that now, if you put too much attention on Kupp, you got a guy named Odell Beckham on the other side who has the capability to put up big numbers as well. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on the Cardinals secondary, and also in their secondary defenses like nickel or dime, whatever they employ. What's going to be their strategy? Are they going to kind of do, zone coverages on the two? Hope to force the Rams into long drives, or I don't know. I'm interested to see the kind of chess match here between the Cardinals defense and Rams offense. On the flip side, for the Cardinals, I want to say James Conner. No, it's playoff time. It's all about quarterback play. So it's got to be Kyler Murray. Can Kyler Murray, maybe use his legs a few times in this game to either, roll out and extend a play to try to get, Kirk or Green or somebody downfield? If nothing's there, can he get a couple of key first downs? This is not going to be a game where they're going to want to do too many 3-and-outs, especially if the Rams have it clicking, because especially with the Rams being at home, it could turn into too much for this Cardinals team. Because, another thing that they have to deal with is this is a Cardinals team that, if you remember, for most of the season was number 1 seed in the NFC. And then, it kind of all fell apart there. They did somewhat regain themselves at the end of the year. But at that point, the Rams had already overtaken them. So they didn't even get the division lead. And then we all know the Packers and Bucks overtook them. So we'll see where their head is at. Are they up for the challenge, or is this going to be continuing the disappointment of the second half of their season? So for the Rams defensively, I would say their key is going to be Aaron Donald. Can Aaron Donald, do what we've seen him do and just wreck offensive game plans by, creating pressure up the middle and getting to the quarterback? Because we know Kyler Murray's not the biggest quarterback either. So if they can collapse the pocket, you might see a few tipped balls at the line. And that could turn into, interceptions going the other way. So like I said, this is an interesting matchup. The line is set at 3.5. Hold on a second. And it's the Rams minus 3.5. I've been going back and forth with this one because one side, I know how good the Cardinals can be, so I want to go with the upset. But then in the other part, it's like I think the loss of DeAndre Hopkins is gonna show itself some point in this game. But then with the Rams, I don't know what to expect from Stafford, because I know Stafford is a talented quarterback. But in a spot like this, with the pressure and all, All right, so I think I'll go with the Rams minus the 3.5. The half is getting me now because I know there's been times in the regular season, that half point there is what, ends up getting me in the end. But I'll go with the Rams minus the 3.5. I could see this being like a maybe like a 30-24 type game for the Rams. And if that's the case, that means the Rams would then be heading off to play the Bucks next week. So there you are. I'm going with the Rams to win and cover the 3.5. And we'll see if I can get a near perfect weekend, because so far I am I think 5-0 in the matchups, picking straight up, and I'm 4-1 against the spread. So it's been a pretty good weekend so far. Let's see if we can close it out with another win. But yeah, so you can let me know, after once you've listened to this, you can let me know what you think, who you're picking. Try to get this out there before kickoff, but if not, you can still let me know who your pick is to win. Follow me at Chompin' Podcast, where you can also let me know your thoughts over there. I do tweet somewhat often during games that I'm watching. Probably be tweeting during this game, so you can go over there, interact with me. But otherwise, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode, so you want to hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment, a review if you want to. Doesn't have to be positive. You could leave something negative and tell me something that you want me to improve about the broadcast or the episode, the podcast, whatever. So thanks again. Hopefully you enjoy the game tonight. And obviously, I'll come back probably tomorrow with a review of tonight's matchup. And then, like I said, wait till the end of the week, talk about divisional round matchups. But have some other things I'm going to talk about during the week. Got some NBA stuff. In terms of the NFL, I'm going to touch on the coaching carousel that we're starting to hear some names popping up to interview for some jobs. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So hopefully, you check out some past episodes if you want, or you join me for the rest of this week. I'm trying to do an episode each day this week. See how that works, and then we'll continue on from there. But yeah, so thanks, and also spread the word as well. If you have a fellow sports fan that let them know about the podcast. Trying to grow the community as quickly as it can. Or if you're somebody who's trying to get into sports and may doesn't understand some things about it or whatever, direct them to the podcast as well. Hopefully I bring some information along with all this. So, but yeah, so be safe out there, of course. God bless. And I will catch you on the next episode. All right, I'm out.